What if homeschooling isn't just about your kids' education? What if it's about you leaning into a freedom story, a story of liberation for you? So what if part of your homeschool journey included you finding your voice, or rewriting your old stories, or reclaiming parts of you that got buried under expectations, your expectations, and others' expectations? Have you been noticing this happening in your homeschool mom life? That's what today's live is all about. If we haven't met, I'm Teresa Wiedrich. I am the graduated homeschool mom turned certified life coach in the homeschool mom space. I help homeschool moms shed what's not working so they can show up authentically, confidently, and purposefully in their homeschool and lives, all the parts of their lives. And it's been a privilege to do it for the last, since 2019. I am someone that values the voice, values speaking, values you becoming more you, because I've had my own story. I've walked my own path of becoming more me. Back in 2004, I would call that my grace awakening, my year of Jubilee. That was a significant year for me. But as you cannot be surprised, it was actually not ending there. It didn't stop there. It was marriage and motherhood and homeschooling and my family of origin story. All of these things invited me to ask the hard questions, to make space for reflection, to tell my honest truth, to do the work of untangling from perfectionism, people-pleasing, and really honoring systems that weren't serving me or my family. I can go into so many different directions in this conversation because I've had so many moments of untangling. So this is the conversation for you if you are someone who's also waking up to your own need for truth in your own life, for more softness, more permission, more purpose. It's for the mom who wonders, who am I under all these roles, under the expectations of others' expectations or my expectations? So just this morning, I had a conversation with another mom who I have on my podcast, Homeschool Mama Self-Care Podcast. And we were speaking to this exact thing about all the different ways that she benefited from coaching over the course of about 10 months. And at core, she said it was all about returning to herself, coming back home, she said. But last year I had a conversation with lovely Christy, who you will soon hear me have a conversation with live. And she said, or I had said to her when she'd shared about sharing her story and her story of freedom, that you don't always have to feel confident before acting courageously. I know I haven't always. I have had so many moments in my last 5-6 years doing this work here that has enabled me to feel more confident, like this right here. I don't do lives. I'm not someone who does lives. I'm someone that has tea with you in my great room and just has a good old-fashioned one-on-one chit-chat. That's what I do. In fact, that's probably my favorite thing of what I do right now, because I'm a coach and I love having conversations one-on-one with you. But I don't do this kind of thing live. I don't do this kind of thing on a podcast or on YouTube or in an auditorium or on an online conference. And yet now I do. I don't do it because I want to practice being courageous. I do it because it's the truest, realest thing. Because I know that when I'm having these conversations one-on-one with you, I'm helping you to get clear on who you are, what really matters to you, and to step into more clear purpose for your life, the thing that you're called to do. So I said to this mom last year, what if you're called to share your story? Because even if it's a hard story, even if it's a story that says, I decided not to do life or church or Christianity the way other people thought I should do it. Oh, girlfriend, I have been there. I don't always share these stories, but I've been there at a very big shift for myself when I was reading a book about grace, a book about Romans, in a very old book called The Normal Christian Life by Watchman Nee. I still don't know why it's titled that, because it's not consistent with what I garnered from that book. But I was in a passport office, and it is not lost on me that I was in a passport office waiting for my passport and also reading this book, and got a clear picture and understanding that the way I was understanding God was not consistent with what I was really learning and reading in the book of Romans. Now, I'd known that story for 20 years. 25 years maybe at that point. I'd known that story for a long time. In fact, I shared that story with many people, but I didn't know it like that. I didn't realize that grace was a gift given. It wasn't earned, not by works. In one moment, it was truly like a light bulb, lit up the room, lit up the waiting room, and it felt like I could see that there was one truth, and it was that grace was covering all of my story, that I wasn't needing to work for favor. And that one moment was the beginning of my becoming. And that one moment was just one moment in my story of becoming. So this mom that I spoke to last year, I had a conversation with her in just a consultation. It wasn't even a coaching, a series of coaching sessions. And I could tell, I could feel the energy that she had really heard something, that something shifted for her. I didn't know what it was. So, and I knew because she had shared quite quickly afterward on Instagram that it was impactful for her. She told me that those questions were uncomfortable for her, a little uncomfortable, but in the best way. And over the past year, she's shared with me since, they helped her quietly rebuild. She recently completed a writing project for Christian women that are disentangling from, as she says, shame-shaped systems. So articulate, so perfectly articulate, because that very much was not how I understood things back in the day. I didn't understand it was a shame-shaped system that I was signing up for. I didn't get that. I have since, and I also understand why so clearly just years later when I was having a really rough homeschool morning. I remember waking up groggy. I probably didn't sleep through the night, and there was a spilled cup of coffee, cold cup of coffee on my bedside table, which was a sign that my kids probably brought me a cup of coffee, put it on the bedside table, and I still slept through it, but they were hoping to wake me and very kindly put it there. So I woke up and I remember thinking, I am too tired. And I could hear the kids arguing in the other room, but they were arguing as they were trying to flip pancakes and make pancakes for the littler ones. And when I came out of my bedroom, I realized, oh, they're being helpful for each other. Oh wait, they're also bickering. But there's splashes of pancake batter all over the kitchen, as there are when you have 4 little ones in the kitchen. And I remember thinking, oh, this is not the way I want to start my day. Not quite sure what I thought I had in mind, what the vision was in mind, but it just didn't start right. And I remember feeling agitated, but grateful that they were doing this, helping each other out. And eventually, over the course of 20 minutes maybe, I was feeling like, okay, we're starting to get this day in hand. We can figure this out. And then the bickering started as we sat down to do a read aloud in the great room. And the 2 littlest ones were at my feet playing Legos, and the 2 older ones maybe were fighting over, no, probably it was the first and third, were fighting over a seat near me. And I just remember getting really agitated and just being like, that's enough. And I don't remember all the sequence of events. I'm trying to recreate this from a long, long time ago, but I'm guessing you can imagine. All I remember thinking is, that's enough. Everybody be quiet, sit down. Not in my best space, probably in my PMSy space. And I remember my voice getting louder than it should have been. I turned on my heels to leave because I knew I needed to cool down, that I needed to get perspective. And so I went to my room, closed the door, tried to call my husband and talk to him, but he was in emergency. He's a physician in Emerge, and so he wasn't able to contact me. Then I tried to contact a friend to try to dissipate the intensity inside of me and talk through what was going on in here. And she said to me at some point, she was such a good friend for me at that time, and she said to me, "Have you checked out this video on YouTube?" It was of a woman who was dressed in big black chunky shoes and a jean jacket and a short blonde coif. It was Brene Brown on a YouTube video, her very first. And she said, she was talking something about shame and vulnerability. She was talking about becoming yourself and really knowing who you are and what you needed. And I remember thinking, I don't know who this woman is or what she's really talking about, this shame thing. All I know is that I don't know who I am. I don't know what I need. And I'm trying to run on empty all the time. And yet somehow not lose my marbles with my kids, actually enjoy the process of homeschooling. And I can't do it. I'm so tired. I'm so done. Have you been there? I have met so many women who have been there. In that room over there, my study, when I do coaching with women, I hear not the same story, but I hear the same theme. I'm trying to do everything. I'm trying to give to my kids the right things. I always feel like I'm running short. My expectations are unrealistic probably, but I have to do the thing and I have to do it right and it has to be good enough. I meet you, so I know that it's more common than not. In fact, it's uncommon if you're not feeling it. But I hear that on repeat. I know that experience. And I also know that the combination of those two moments, the one where I got real clear that I was not addressing my needs, that I didn't know who I was, and also the moment where I felt God's grace say, you know what? You don't have to try and appease and please and do all the things for me. I did this for you. Those two things were a huge epiphany, a huge movement for me toward my becoming. Two of many stories. Those were disentangling moments. They didn't feel like it in the moment. They actually felt really uncomfortable and frustrating and confusing and cool, but what am I supposed to do with this kind of moments? This is the kind of work that I do with homeschool moms now, helping them to get clear on what's not working so they can show up in their homeschools and in their lives authentically, confidently, and purposefully. Learning to speak differently to ourselves is one of the elements of us disentangling. This morning on the Homeschool Mama Self-Care podcast, where I speak out of my closet in Studio C, the closet, I share on my podcast every week something that will help support moms. And today's was all about affirmations and the words that we speak to ourselves. They're simple, truthful statements that can help you bridge your feelings of guilt, that you're not showing up the way that you want to be showing up, frustration or overwhelm about what's going on in your home, and actually feel more confident, feel courageous to take the next step in your life. I've learned to do it myself. And when once I thought doing affirmations was a hokey thing, because I did, just like I thought homeschooling was a hokey thing. Yes, I did. I no longer think those things, obviously. So if anything in our conversation today stirred something in you, if you felt a little more seen, if you found yourself nodding along, if you're quietly wondering, what would it look like for me to become more me? Then I want to invite you to join me. Pause. Ask yourself, if you could give yourself permission to be more you, what would that look like? If you had just an ounce more confidence, what would you be doing? And if you had more courage, how would you be showing up? I don't think that this work of becoming is a luxury. I don't think it's something that happens just to certain people. I think every single one of us is invited to this. I think it's why we're here and it's what we're meant to do. And it's possible even when you have kids underfoot. It's more challenging to actually hear what it is you need to be hearing, but that's why you can join me, because I'll help you hear you to help you understand what's really going on in there. So if you're curious about coaching, join me in a coaching consultation. It's entirely free, no obligation. You can just get to know me, see if we have a rapport, if what I can actually offer you will help you in your next steps to becoming more you. I'm happy to walk alongside homeschool moms, to walk beside them, to help them untangle their unrealistic expectations, to reconnect with who they really are, and build a homeschool mom life that reflects who they really are. So if that is you, then just ask me for a consultation link, and I'm happy to connect with you. I'd love to invite you to join me over there as we do a one-on-one coaching conversation, and I'll bring the tea, and we won't go live. Just ask me for a link. I know that when you become more you, you allow your kids to become more them. You live more purposefully. They live more purposefully. You get the gift of a wholehearted life, like Brene Brown speaks in The Gifts of Imperfection in her book. Not coincidentally, we're actually reading that book in the Confident Homeschool Mom Collective over the next 3 months, because that book is just so compelling. It's such a diving board or jumping off board for people to really get clear on who they are and what really matters and why they're so driven towards listening to other people's expectations other than their own. So if you're curious about anything that I shared, connect with me. I hope you have a good week.